I'm Nurse Jessica Seitz, along with Nurse Erica. We're Nurses Uncorked, the podcast that takes nursing facts with nursing comedy and makes a little cocktail out of it. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Nurses Uncorked. I'm so excited this week because I have Nurse Erica here. No, that's not why I'm excited. She's always here. She's myself, Nurse Jessica. I know I'm horrible. Along with Nurse Erica, and we have a special guest this week that I can't believe we waited this long to actually have her on. I think we were just trying to figure out how to actually run a podcast before we
we wanted to make sure we weren't complete asses before we asked you to come on.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
we wanted to make sure that we knew how to hear the sound in our headphones and stuff before we had on RaDonda Vaught. So we have RaDonda Vaught here, which is a very close friend of Erica's. I'm just meeting RaDonda in person for the first time, and so far, I like her. She seems pretty. She seems cool.
Everyone loves her when they meet her. Everyone.
Yeah, and she's looking hip and young nowadays. I don't know what's going on, but
Botox.
Botox is our best friend.
We're gonna let RaDonda start off the podcast because we always do a drink of the week on Nurses Uncorked, because without the drink, it doesn't make sense to have Nurses Uncorked. Yeah. So, welcome, RaDonda. Thanks for coming on.
Hello.
Thank you, friend.
Thanks for having me and hanging out.
And when I asked her to come on the podcast, the first thing she said was, "Okay, but can I do the cocktail of the week?" And I was like, "Yes, do it."
Well, I think first I was like, "Why haven't you asked me to come hang out with you on your podcast yet?"
I know.
She kept bugging me too, and I was like,
RaDonda?
"I'll talk to her in Costa Rica."
Friends.
I know.
Well, and our other friend, Masshole McGuido, said, "You're not ready for RaDonda."
He
That's what he was telling us.
You're
not ready.
Oh my God. He's like, "You guys need to step it up and get it together before she comes on."
So
yeah,
wrong.
he did.
So every time I would ask Erica, his voice would be in my head. "You're not ready for RaDonda." I was like, God, okay. But yeah, that's what he kept telling. He kept telling us. I was like,
to the point, it's not good.
RaDonda, before you do your cocktail, I actually forgot you were going to do the cocktail of the week. So I had made. I didn't bring the stuff, but I created a cocktail and named it after you, and it's purple. And I was going to call it the RaDonda. I did. I bought all the ingredients today. Yes.
Let's hear it. Let's see it.
You have to do it.
No.
You can do it next time.
I'm going to do it on our next podcast. I'll do it, and I'll talk about RaDonda. But Erica's like, "I told you she was doing it." I was like, "Oh crap!" So
you guys get your together.
But it was purple. It's really cool. Well, I'll do it on the next podcast.
That was a good idea.
We'll
still
still
name
name it the RaDonda. Yeah. But let's see what you got, girl. What you got?
What's the cocktail?
What I have, I'm gonna make. I have a pitcher. I have.
God, that looks like a bong.
I brought a cup, but
doesn't it?
It does look like a bong. Sort of.
Dirty up two objects.
It kind of does.
That's right.
Okay. All right. Pitcher. All right. Like it.
No, it's a pitcher. Yeah, and there's ice is already in here.
Oh, it's got ice.
Part of it melted while I was waiting for Chrome. Okay, so you need ice. You need some gin. I like Hendrix.
Okay.
All right.
Just give yourself a little splash.
Okay. Eyeball it.
No measuring. No measuring needed.
I'm an eyeballer.
Yeah.
Eyeballer.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
I'm in the comfort of my own home. I'm not going anywhere.
That's right.
Yeah, do what you got to do.
The comfort of your own closet.
Right there. That's right. My own closet. Okay. Limoncello LaCroix.
Oh, those are
the limoncello. It has to be the limoncello.
Is that because of y'all's trip?
Have you ever had a real
limoncello back in?
That was in Italy.
Trip?
Yeah.
Oh,
Julie bought
Italy.
all of us limoncello in Italy, and we were so drunk.
All right, so we got ice, gin, limoncello
LaCroix.
Okay.
La, la, la.
What is this drink called
in here? Making lemons out of.
Did you make this up,
delicious.
or is this an actual drink?
Up. Oh, I made it up. Yeah.
All right.
I'm gonna put a second one in here.
Okay.
I'm a creative.
Two LaCroix.
And then, okay, so you can use whatever simple syrup you want, but I like different simple syrups. And this company is in Nashville, Good Citizen, and this is rose and cardamom. and it's really good.
Okay.
Mm.
You could order it online
Alright.
even, but again,
All right. Simple syrup.
I just
I wonder what the hell that tastes like. Strawberries,
rose
maybe? I
and
don't know. I'm trying
cardamom.
to.
I just little
Eyeball
Right,
it.
what
splashy.
does a rose?
Eyeball
What
it.
does a rose taste like? Okay, all right.
It
Something
doesn't really
sweet.
have much of a smell, but there we are.
Okay.
Good
Okay.
taste. And then if you want to get real fancy, then I got my cover
A
on my knife,
lemon.
so I'll cut myself just a nice little lemon.
Oh my God, be careful.
A
Please
little
don't slice
wedge.
yourself. That's all we need.
I am. Look, this cut on my
She's
finger is
getting the
actually
lemon
from
ready.
It's not from a knife. I was
What's it
trimming hooves on a sheep
Oh,
yesterday
I was gonna say
And
it's
she-
something
my
like
Lord.
that.
Picked
I
me
did
Something
that
farm
last-
and
related.
cut my
Yeah.
finger with
I
her
did that
hoof.
last week with my sheep. And
Really?
yeah.
Really?
Did you?
Did
I
you?
didn't cut
How do
myself.
you
though.
avoid that, Jessica? How?
I don't.
And you
I don't,
have
I
a
don't know.
manicure too. Please tell me
I-
how you
I-
keep a manicure and
I
do
put
that.
gloves
because
on. I wore gloves. I was wearing gloves.
I'm
I mean,
failing. I'm failing at life. Clearly. Okay,
I
so
want a sheep.
I'm gonna resheath my knife here carefully.
Good. You're gonna recap it like
Recap.
Donna
You're not
Jones
supposed-
did on the stand, recapping
Who?
the needle. Donna Jones,
Who?
the nurse expert.
Who?
The expert.
She doesn't say that
You
name.
ain't got nothing nice to say.
Don't say anything
nothing
at all.
Squeeze your lemons in there.
Is that
Okay.
lady
Gloves
still
on.
alive? By the way, just kidding. Just kidding. I was just kidding.
Who knows?
I shouldn't.
I don't
I
know.
shouldn't have said that.
She's up
That's
there.
not nice.
I'm not sure. if
Fresh
she's
squeezed lemon
licensed.
juice.
That's it. And then you just,
Mix it
if
up.
you have it in the picture, it's nice if you swirl it around and then
There you go. Oh, it's a straw.
For those of you that can't see the
She's got
videos,
a whole
you're just
straw
listening.
in the split.
It
that's
looks like
nice.
she has ordered one for the entire table.
yes.
But she has a picture with a giant
it's-
straw all
It's
for herself.
I
Yes.
can individually size it. Just, I can
Okay,
keep it
okay.
classy. You know my motto.
That's her motto.
My motto is to keep it classy.
It is.
Don't read the
It
comments.
was.
And keep it classy. That was my advice.
Throughout
Like,
your
honest to
entire
goodness.
trial, you would say that.
So even
Keep it
before
classy.
then,
Don't
like,
engage. Keep it classy.
keep it classy.
Erica, why have you not
Don't
listened
read
to
the
this
comments.
advice? I've been giving you that
Yeah,
advice
I
for months
know,
now.
I know.
You just
I
don't
don't
listen. You
And
just
listen,
don't listen.
Don't
RaDonda's
read the
always trying to
comments.
like elevate me because she's like, don't engage with the trolls. And I'm like,
It's
but
true.
this one
It's
troll
true.
needs to be called out. And she's like, don't engage.
But you know what? Listen, here's the thing. You think you're doing you're doing like poetic justice to the world by calling out people who have negative things to say.
Yeah.
They don't give a shit.
Probably
They
not.
like that.
Yeah.
They
and,
like.
and you're
Yeah.
not
to be
going to
engaged
change
with.
their minds.
Nope.
That's true.
Right. If they truly gave a shit and wanted to be there to have a productive conversation, they'd never engage like that in the first place. Those people are not worth the time and energy that you exert on them.
It's true.
They're not worth it because
That's
they're
true.
never, you are spending your time, your energy,
Yep.
and you're giving it away to some
It's true.
troll on the other side
Who
of
is
a
not
digital
deserving.
space.
They are not
who
deserving
is
of your
not
energy.
deserving. They're
Yep.
taking it and they're taking it. And the more you give, the more they'll take.
I've tried
then
to
what have
teach
you done?
Erica that if you're gonna
Wasted it.
respond with kindness, and
I
they
can't.
won't write back. Like they
I can't.
literally.
It's
That's
true.
one thing.
What are you gonna
I
say to that?
respond. People will
keep
make
being
fun
a
of my
dick.
makeup.
Have a great day.
So I write back and I tell them, "You're a beautiful lady. It looks like you do your makeup very well. I'm sorry that
Yeah.
you feel that way about my makeup." And guess what? They never write back again, which is
No.
odd.
It's so
You are
odd.
very good about rising above. I will say you're very motivational.
It's taken a long
Yeah.
time. It's taken a long
Yeah.
time,
It
but
does.
you'll
It
get.
does. It takes time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Takes time. You'll
Yeah.
get there. I mean, the Botox helps, Erica.
It does.
I keep reading in the
I am
comments that you need
a
more
firm
Botox.
believer.
So
They do. They tell me I need Botox even after I've already had Botox, which is really concerning. Like, what am
What's
I
the
supposed
other
to do
one?
with that?
you need to find a new
Bangs,
Botox.
bangs.
Oh yeah, they tell me to
Bangs.
get bangs because apparently I have a forehead the size of like an airport runway or something.
Which I'm like,
Yeah.
I
Why are
never
people so
thought you had a big
mean?
forehead.
They're so
I
mean.
know people.
I never
Are
did
so
either till I
mean.
started getting comments, and now I can't unsee it.
Oh God.
That's all right.
Listen, you can't take that stuff to heart though. You can't.
I know
If
it's
I
so
took-
hard not to though.
If I took the comments that I read about myself to heart, I mean, I wouldn't be
Oh,
here.
I'm sure that you've heard some doozies. We could do a whole
Yeah.
episode probably on mean
Oh, yeah,
comments to
for sure.
RaDonda
But
Vaught.
what's it matter? Like
It doesn't.
Yeah. For the 10 people in the medical community who may not know who RaDonda Vaught is, she was a registered nurse working at Vanderbilt Hospital. Back in December of 2017, RaDonda mistakenly administered vecuronium, a paralytic, which resulted in the death of a patient. She had her nursing license revoked in July of 2021, and then went on to become one of the first nurses to be criminally prosecuted. In March of 2022, RaDonda was found guilty and convicted of criminally negligent homicide and abuse of an impaired adult. She narrowly avoided prison time and was sentenced to 3 years probation. When I asked RaDonda to come on the podcast, she said, yeah, I would love to show the world the other part of me, the real me that they never get to see. So today you get to see and hear from the real RaDonda Vaught. And I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you for coming, friend.
We can just
Because all the other times it's been fake RaDonda. It was fake RaDonda.
Fake.
What?
She's so fake. I hear that all the time. God, she's so bad. I'm just kidding. I don't hear that.
You were just keeping it
having
classy.
a podcast where we just,
I was trying to keep it classy, but that's just inherently like, I mean, I grew up in a trailer in South Alabama. Like, I'm not an inherently classy person, you know, by all accounts.
But you carried yourself so well throughout the entire ordeal. You did. It was very impressive.
Felt like I was doing, I couldn't do anyone any justice being an ass or being ugly. Like,
yeah,
you know, the worst thing that happened in this situation is that someone lost their life. And what does it look like? You know, even though all of these other things transpired afterwards, what does it look like if I show up on the scene, you know, engaging with the comments and screaming to the rooftops about all of the other things? At the end of the day, that's not what we were there to discuss in court, unfortunately. And so that's where we have to focus where we can focus. That's done now. Now maybe I can move on and focus on other things, but one piece at a time.
Yeah.
Just keep it classy. You know, stay focused.
That had to be hard though. Like, not to get into everything, but being like a freaking scapegoat and being freaking made a lot of blame being put on you so that the freaking hospital would just the whole thing was just a freaking horrible nightmare. So I would
it was
actually I can't even imagine how hard it is to try to bite your tongue under those circumstances.
For years. Jessica, do you have kids?
Yes, I have four kids.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can get this from both pictures. Like, you as a child did something and your parents didn't yell at you or punish you. They just looked at you and you're like, I'm just so disappointed.
Oh, I hate that.
Have you ever given that and same statement to your children and like seen the look on their face? That's how I felt.
Yeah.
I felt so disappointed. I drank the Kool-Aid.
You're referring to Vanderbilt. You were disappointed in Vanderbilt.
I felt very disappointed. Very let down.
Because you loved working there.
Oh.
Did you ever see my picture flicking off Vanderbilt? Remember, Erica, were you with me?
I don't remember that, no.
I was in the airport and they had an advertisement for Vanderbilt and it was a light shining onto the floor in the airport that it was a circle and the logo. And I have a picture like this, RaDonda, look, with I'm like flicking off. It's a glamorous photo. I posted that on my social media.
Photos, but unfortunately, you're not gonna partake in them.
Keep it classy.
I'm gonna keep it classy. Like, listen, don't get me wrong. Like, I will laugh, at the jokes that other people make at, the expense.
But you're not gonna engage in it because you're classy.
I'm not gonna engage in it because I don't want that karma attached to me. I really feel like what you put out into the world, you get back.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is attached to your intentions.
I do too.
It's not just about the fact that you made a mistake, right? It's your intentions. It's the intentional actions, words, things that you put out into the universe and with people. And I'm just not going to be that person. I'm not going to have.
Can I ask you a personal question?
Stuff.
And this wasn't anything I'd planned, but Have you
Yeah,
had to
let's
go
go
to
down this
therapy
route.
because of this? Have you had to go
I
to
have
therapy?
not gone
Like,
to therapy.
okay, I'm just
I've
We
wondering.
were
not.
we
Like,
were
is that?
talking about that recently. Yeah.
I
I,
I've thought a lot about um therapy would be beneficial, and I think time was the therapy that I needed. Resolution of
yeah,
this criminal matter, legal matter,
yeah,
administrative law, like all of the legal stuff hanging over my head, the weight of that time and getting away from that was what I felt like I needed the most, or what I found that I
Yeah.
needed the most. I just needed to separate from that. Um,
yeah. That makes
Therapy
sense.
wouldn't be a
the
bad
date of
idea, though.
the day of your conviction, and you were found guilty, you would think that would be just traumatizing, and it was inevitably, but you were also so relieved. I
I was so
remember.
glad that it
I
was over.
remember you
I was
saying
so
you were
glad that it
so
was
glad it
over.
was over, because it had been years
I'll
since
tell
it
you, I
happened,
was glad
years
that
of it hanging over your head.
Thursday afternoon, when they were like, the jury is dismissing, we're done with this.
Yeah.
That was a relief. That was it. I'm like, it's done. Whatever happens at this point is going to happen. I have no control
Yeah.
over it. I have done everything that I can do I have tried to give my attorney all of the things that he needs to succeed. I can't change anything that I've done or said. It's all been the truth. So let's just see what unfolds. But it's done. Like, it's done, and something is going to happen, and then time is going to keep moving forward after this. And it won't be hanging over my head anymore with me wondering, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? I just wanted it to be done.
Did you
And I
think
felt
that you
so
would be
good.
found guilty?
100%.
What did you think? Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
I remember you saying that. Yeah.
I just, like, my gut instinct was that, I was going to be found guilty. I couldn't force myself. I couldn't even make myself make eye contact with the jury. Like, I just, and I
you
don't
had a
feel like they
feeling.
ever
Yeah.
had I don't think they really ever had an opportunity to hear from me, to understand anything from the perspective other than what the prosecution, you know, displayed for them, and
Yeah.
my 2-hour testimony that they
Yeah.
played.
Because you didn't testify, but in a roundabout way, they
Mhm.
got around that and kind of made sure that you did testify,
They
not
introduced
in the
that as
traditional
evidence.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 2-hour interview that I did with the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, they introduced as evidence pretty early on. And, I had
That
every
you
intention of
voluntarily
testifying.
you went in and they said, "Can
Mhm.
you come in? We have some questions for you," long
Mhm.
before you were charged and all of that.
Yeah,
And
probably
you
about
just
3
went
months
in
before I
not
was charged.
knowing. Yeah, not knowing anything, and they
Oh,
started
God,
asking
so
questions and they
naive.
recorded it,
They
right?
read me my Miranda rights.
But you
Oh,
didn't
poor
really
thing.
get
was
that this could
so
be used
stupid.
against you, like in a criminal trial down the
I was
line.
so naive. So
Yeah.
naive.
But if you've never been involved in anything like that, how do you know? How would you know? Like,
No,
you know what
but
I'm
people were
saying?
like,
Like,
well, haven't you ever watched Law and Order? Like, don't you know when they read you your rights? There's a lot going through your head, like,
Yeah.
it's all over the news. Vanderbilt's losing their money. Everyone's losing their
Yeah.
shit. They're talking about this mystery nurse, the mystery patient, and no one knows that it's me. But I know that
Right.
it's me, and the few people that are around me know that it's me. And the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation's calling you. I've already talked to the Board of Nursing and the Department of Health on multiple times. And no, I don't know what's going on, but I know at this point, everything seems to be facility driven with Medicare and Medicaid funding. And then I walk into the TBI to the office, or it was
TBI is
Medicare and
Tennessee
Medicaid,
Bureau of Investigation.
oh,
thank
okay.
you. Medicare and Medicaid fraud investigation, or
Mhm.
Medicare and Medicaid fraud control unit. And so that's where I was, being interviewed by someone about Medicare and Medicaid fraud. It wasn't until we were done having read my Miranda rights, told her everything. And I don't even know if they were still recording or not. She may have stopped at that point. And she made the comment that she would be sure in reference to the DA, she said, "I will let her know that you were very cooperative." And that was
Is
like
that when something like a light bulb went off?
that. My spidey senses were,
You're
tingling
like,
my stomach.
uh-oh.
My gut feeling
Right.
was like, and I asked her, what exactly are you like? Are you investigating like me or something to that extent? I inquired as to
Right.
exactly what they were investigating, and she gave the very blanket statement of, my job is just to collect evidence to see if, or to collect evidence or investigate to see if a crime has been committed.
And that
and
was
then
Ramona Smith,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
We still hate her.
Ramona was just
What kind
doing
of
her
name
job.
is Ramona? Ramona.
Beezus
right
and
in it right there.
Ramona. Did you remember? Did you
Yeah.
guys read Beezus and Ramona as a kid?
I remember that. Yeah.
I don't
I
know
had
remember
this
that.
really
That is.
big book as a kid, and it was Grimm's fairy tales. Like it was like,
yeah. Yeah.
Did you have? It was green. It was
Yeah.
green with like a maroon binding, and it was
Yeah.
I
a
have
thick,
no clue.
big book, and it had all the like
Yeah.
Grimm's fairy tales stories in it. And Beezus and
remember,
Ramona
yeah.
was in there. I liked Beezus and Ramona.
Did you read Judy Blume as a kid?
I read
No?
Goosebumps
Really?
and like R.L. Stein.
I used to
Yeah,
read
I
Sweet
don't think
Valley
I read
High Twins.
Oh, I remember that.
That's
I
what I
remember
was
that.
reading, was the
Nope.
whole Sweet Valley High Twins series. I loved those freaking books.
Think Sweet Valley High? I don't
Yeah, it
remember
was like
that.
two twin
I
blonde
remember that.
girls.
Yeah, it was like
and
for
they're-
tweens. Yeah.
Yeah, that was me.
So, how does it feel to be a trendsetter, being the poster child for criminal prosecution of nurses? I laugh. It's not funny.
It's
I- we
but
have
it's
to
not
laugh.
funny. What else are you supposed
It's
to
not,
do?
but
like,
But it's like
such
that-
a
can you
joke at this
believe
point
that
that it's
sort
laughable.
of it started a trend? I mean, you were kind of the first. There was one some years ago, right? A nurse
Julie
that was
Tao
criminally prosecuted.
was
Yes,
criminally
her.
prosecuted in somewhat of a similar series of
Yeah.
events. She made a medication error. A 16-year-old laboring mother died.
Yeah.
And
This was
I
before yours or
believe
after
me, don't quote me
yours?
this.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
many
this was
years
early
ago.
2000s. Like maybe I want to say
Yeah.
maybe
Okay.
2007. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that, but early 2000s.
Okay.
Prior to 2010, I want to say 2007. That seems
Okay.
That sounds
ish.
about right.
She was a seasoned nurse and had been working in L&D like many years. She was a seasoned nurse, made an honest mistake. The patient passed away, and I believe.
Do you remember, just because of me being an L&D nurse, do you know what mistake she made? Because now I'm like really curious. I've never heard this story.
I feel like there was okay, now please, like,
I don't
full
recall.
disclosure. I read a lot about this, but I've also read a lot about a lot of things, and then I slept
It's okay.
since then.
I'll look it up afterward. I just was curious. But some
there was a
some
drip that was
medication error
hanging.
happened.
There was a bag hanging.
Did she accidentally bolus Pitocin when she shouldn't
No,
have?
well,
No.
the concentration changed, I believe. Pharmacy was either bringing another bag or someone brought another bag, and maybe the new bag wasn't labeled. There was some issue between labeling. Either the bag was labeled or wasn't labeled, or someone brought it in the room and just hung it and sat it somewhere. There were multiple people that were involved in attempting
There was a
to
big series of mistakes. Yeah.
There was a series of things that happened, but ultimately, it fell on her.
Because she hung it, or she actually did it.
Yeah,
I'm guessing. I have no idea. I've never heard this. But
yes. Yeah,
I'll
I think there would have been.
I'm very interested. Yeah, I have to look this up.
Julie
it's a
Tao.
big case.
It's THAO. It is, and I want to say that Medicare and Medicaid may have even been involved in that. Like, it was that type of thing that may have led to her being, again, criminally charged, because
Right.
people tend to get they don't understand the details, right? Like, law has 3 areas. You can either be administrative law, that's your license, that's regulatory boards and license, boards of nursing, departments of health. If you hold a professional license, in a state or something like that, it's administrative law. So the Board of Nursing, that's administrative law when you're going before those people. And Advocate Maggie does a good job of explaining like the shenanigan bullshit that administrative law is, especially when it comes to boards of nursing, but that's a whole separate story. And then there's civil. So that would have been a civil law. If the family were to have come after me, that would have been a civil suit, right?
And
There's
it
no
would just be
criminal charges.
monetary.
Correct. It's damages. It's monetary. It's a civil suit. It's not a crime. Criminal, that's your other division of the law. So that's a criminal bureau of investigation of some kind, state or local, has done an investigation and decided that your actions fit the description of a criminal code within that area for that jurisdiction. And now you will be charged with a crime. It's not anything to do with the family. It's not anything to do with a license. All of those things are separate. And so Julie was also charged criminally. It wasn't a civil malpractice.
Unheard of.
Right. Yeah. And so her case was somewhat similar to mine, but I think, you were talking about being a trendsetter, Erica. I think that this just came at a time when it was almost a perfect storm of events, right? Like, this happened prior to COVID. This happened at the end of 2017. I was arrested early 2019, and then COVID happened. We all know what that was like, public or in healthcare. And then we went into this world where even if we weren't super big on using social media or Zoom or virtual, that became really the only way that you had to get information or to get with people. People, I think, started to utilize those social and virtual platforms more than they ever had before. And then that's how we started communicating with each other and learning things and building platforms. And then we come out of COVID, and you've got a whole millions of people in healthcare that are just like, they're, and then the courts are out of moratorium, and then we're moving along, and administrative law is out of moratorium. They take my license, and then, and people are getting in an uproar about this, and they're like, hold on, what is happening here? So then the social aspect of it on social media, it really almost, it took a life of its own. It took a life of its own, which I never, ever, ever would have expected that. Never.
Yeah.
And I think that's what
I think your case scared the shit of everybody. It really did.
Nurses around the world.
To the core, it scared the shit of every nurse because
especially because you just came out of COVID. You know they saw some shit.
But you know what?
If you hadn't seen some shit before, you saw it during COVID.
In all my years of nursing, I always felt like, we make a huge med error or something. We know you could lose your license. You're done. You'll never be a nurse again. Like, that's something that's always in your mind. But
which is scary enough.
Never would you think that you'd be criminally charged. Like, at least,
I
started as a nurse in the year 2000. I got my nursing license. Up until your case, I never heard anything like this. And it was just like,
it was those like angel of death, crazy ones that meant to inflict harm. Those were the only ones you ever heard of
because
being criminally prosecuted.
Because everybody knew, even though they tried to say, well, the label was blah, 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 everybody knew it was not a malintent mistake. Like, it was not a malicious, like,
you didn't even know that you had done it until after.
No, it was probably somewhere between an hour and maybe an hour and 20-ish minutes. I have
you finally figured it out
frame, but it was a good while. I mean, it was probably 15 to 20 minutes between administering it and getting the rapid response call, 45 minutes to an hour transporting and stabilizing her and putting her in an ICU bed. And then towards the end of that process, realizing that I had made the error. So
I can't even imagine what that must have felt like. Like, you must have felt like you were in an outer body experience. Like, that's the only way I could think, is like, you would have to feel like
this just like disappeared. Like, it existed in the basement somewhere 7 stories below where I was.
Because you knew
because
what that
it's
meant
like
and
it's
what
like
the
shock.
outcome
It literally
would
is like
be.
you go into shock.
Oh, yeah.
For those that don't know, it was a dose of a paralytic of vecuronium, and you thought that you were giving Versed.
Yeah.
And
Versed.
Versed, and you're a neuro ICU nurse at that point, and so you knew what that meant, right? And what the likely outcome would be. And so
I'm sure when she realized it, of course.
I sat there in my nurse educator's office after I had told, the staff, like the critical care anesthesiologist and the neuro ICU critical care team that were in her room, told them, that I was aware of the medication error. This is what happened.
Immediately went and told them as soon as you found out.
I went to my nurse educator's office after that, and I was losing it, and I said to her, I could have just killed this patient, and if I didn't kill her, what did I do to her? Like, what kind of life is she going to have? What kind of quality of life is she going to have? What did I do to her? What did I do to her family? It is the day after Christmas. Like, Yeah. I was very aware that this was not. I would assume,
though, but even though you knew this was the worst case scenario, she probably wasn't going to make it. You probably were going to lose your nursing license. I'm sure you thought that. You never in your wildest dreams thought you were going to be charged criminally. I'm assuming. Correct? Or
do you know what I said to her? I feel like I wrote my own.
I remember that.
Do you remember me telling you this?
Yeah, you said, I'm going to get thrown in jail or something.
I'm going to lose my job. I'm going to lose my license. I'm going to go to jail. I said that to Leanna sitting in her office. I could have just...
Maybe deep down, you had a premonition.
Like, that is what came to me before I ever spoke to anyone else, before I sat down and did an incident report, talked to risk management, talked to my manager, talked to our AC. Before I talked to any of those people, that is what, this is well before she had passed. This was in the immediate moments after realizing, what I had done. That was the statement that I very clearly remember saying to her. And it has come up in my brain so many times. Like, I called it. Like, did I? I mean, it's like, be careful what you say, right? Be careful what you wish for, but be careful what you say, the words that come out of your mouth, because you may just manifest it. I'm like, did I just manifest this shit?
Was you though? That was you blaming yourself. I bet that was you feeling like I did something horrible. Like, you probably just spoke out of like, you know what I mean? Like
like that guttural place of fear.
Yeah, like I did. I messed up. I mixed up the meds. I fucked up. Like, I'm mad at myself, kind of thing. And I could see possibly saying that, but I don't know. At least I would feel like
my
as
brain
a nurse
went to the worst place, and that's generally not. I generally don't go. I'm like a glass. Like, look. You're like, this glass is empty.
Person.
I'm like, plenty to drink in here.
She is. She's very optimistic. I can tell you.
Erica, I know you have a question coming, and I'm going to stop you because it's our midway point. And I feel like, because this is what I do every episode. RaDonda knows, she's listened to the podcast, because if I don't, we don't
Erica's
care what's going on in Nurses Uncorked. We could be in the most heated debate. We could be talking about RaDonda possibly spending her life in jail, but we're going to talk about the problem of the week, everybody.
Problem of the week.
That's what's going to...
Jessica wants to get rid of the problem of the week.
I maybe one day we will, but Erica likes it, so we're going to keep doing it. So, and then I think after that, I want to ask RaDonda some fun questions for a little bit.
You ask.
Can we do that?
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So let's do the problem of the week.
Okay.
And then let's ask RaDonda some fun stuff. I think that we got some time.
Of the week.
Yeah, I like that. I should get a little sound bite.
There you go. We need that. We need a clip of that.
All
right.
Actually, I'm
Get
going
it.
to steal that right there and use that. I'm going to use RaDonda's voice every week.
Go for it.
Problem of the week. That's perfect. Do it.
All right.
All right.
Here we
What's
go.
the problem?
I was asking okay, I was asking about posting questions anonymously, and you said to message you. I want to know why nurses and CNAs have never walked off together to get unionized. That would mean fair pay, insurance, and better treatment for everyone. So she's asking, why have CNAs and nurses never collaborated together and done some massive thing
I think
together?
you could just start with like,
Well,
why haven't
they
nurses
do
collaborated
sometimes.
together?
Well,
yeah, right. That's the
true.
bigger issue, right?
I mean,
Why isn't anyone getting unionized?
why
But,
isn't anyone
they
collaborating?
do sometimes. I was actually part of a union that represented nurses, CNAs, and allied health. So like housekeeping, dietary, everyone. But it is pretty rare, and that was for a county hospital, so it was a little bit different. Generally speaking, unions kind of have like a jurisdictional sort of thing, and so unions can only represent certain bodies of people, and so there are unions that only represent RNs or only represent nurses, and then there are unions that represent CNAs and sometimes LPNs and allied health. And there's hospitals and places that have two different unions in the same place, one for like CNAs and one for RNs. So it gets very confusing. There's a lot of overlap, but sometimes they just can't. Like they have kind of
because
jurisdiction
of the way
for
the
lack of a
union
better
is
term.
set up, I guess. The way the union's
Yeah.
set up, you don't have the
I
option,
can
I guess.
imagine that legally
Yeah.
it would be exceptionally complex. Seeing what
Yeah.
I've witnessed from the other side of things, and knowing
Yeah.
that, and knowing how administrative law works, and that's sort of the guideline for your practice and what's, the oversight
Yeah.
of that,
Yeah.
that legally it would be very complex to.
But now, talking about a mass walkout, I think to have CNAs and nurses do it would
Mhm.
be right. I mean,
Yeah. Oh, it would be
I'm
more
just-
powerful. Absolutely. It would.
But I mean, when
Yeah,
you
power
talk
in
about
numbers.
like a mass walkout day, like we're usually just talking about RNs or nurses, but that imagine how much more profound that would be if you freaking had
Yeah.
CNAs, the LPNs, the
It would be.
RNs, like, and anybody that is in healthcare. I mean, that
Yeah.
freaking is
Yeah.
feeling like,
agree.
I mean, good grief, that like Massel
I
says
will
that
say
would
though-
shake the system to the core.
It would
It
shake
would.
it to the
It would.
core.
It'd bring
It
us to
would.
our knees. That's the only thing that's
Oh my
gonna bring
God.
us to our knees.
Can we channel our mass hole? I'm trying to like, I'm trying
Our
to get
inner
the voice
mass hole.
in my
Your inner
Oh,
Maguido.
Our
Channel-
inner
Channel-
mass hole,
channel my
Maguido.
channel my
He
inner
loves you. He
Maguido.
loves you.
Can we make t-shirts? Listen, he needs to make t-shirts. Channel your
That
inner
say
mass
what?
hole.
I love him.
Oh,
I
he
seriously
would.
do.
He totally
Yeah.
would.
No,
Yeah.
With his
my
cute
favorite
face on it.
videos, when he's got the expensive ass glasses and the gold chains, I'm like, that's it. I'm done. I'm done. He's like,
I
good
love it.
morning, everybody.
Good
I got
morning,
my
ladies.
coffee.
He's
Good
so
morning,
funny.
ladies. Got my coffee.
You want to talk
I
about it? Let's
had-
talk about it.
I had
I love
RaDonda call him. This is Matthew, the Masshole Maguido, when we were in Costa Rica recently on a trip. And I knew that he absolutely adored you. He credits you with changing his whole practice as a nurse, that
Yeah.
you have changed the landscape of nursing. Like, he fangirls over you. And so when we were in Costa Rica out at a restaurant one night, I'm like, let's call him. He's going to lose his mind. And he didn't answer the phone. And then I texted him and said, you really want to answer this call.
Did I send
Yeah,
him
so
a
you
message?
know he saw it.
Or like, did we send
You
him
know
a
he
text or
saw
like
it.
a video?
Yeah, I think we sent
We
him a
did
video
something.
message, and he
Mhm.
immediately called back. And then you guys spoke for quite a while.
He
on
was
the
getting
phone.
ready to, I think, was he packing for vacation or?
Yeah, he was going on
He
vacation.
would like leave,
yeah.
he was leaving the next morning to go on vacation.
Yeah.
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 What was your favorite thing about Costa Rica, by the way?
Oh my God.
We just we co-hosted a trip for a week with a bunch of nurses and
So
a physician
amazing.
and nurse practitioner to Costa
Mhm.
Rica, and it was amazing.
I just really enjoyed the vibe of that country, and exploring it with all of these other people that were just open and down. You know, there was no
Everyone
judgment.
was so
There was no
cool. Yeah.
bullshit.
No
And it was
bullshit.
so great. You know, everyone
was
just,
I love
easy.
we were
meeting
all
new
there to
people
back.
like
soak it
that.
up. Yeah, it
And
was so
support
easy for us
each
to
other.
just hang out. Yes. You know, like I wanted it to just be an experience that everybody could relax. You could relax, you could
Yeah.
let go,
Yeah.
you could just for a couple of days forget about the worry,
Everyday
the strife, the
life.
things
Yeah.
that, you know, are on your shoulders every day. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I think it was a very
I just let
healing
go of
journey for a
that.
lot of us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, we all got to share some really personal stories and experiences. And I really, you know, like I look forward to that. I miss, like, my work has always kind of been my social life, for lack
Yeah.
of a
Yeah.
better like,
Yeah.
description.
For
And
a
Yeah.
lot of us. Yeah.
I mean, I live so far away from everything. Right? I drive, it's an hour to Nashville, and I gotta
Mm-hmm.
stay busy. Like, we're busy on the farm. So now, like, if I go to the farmer's market, that's my social time. Otherwise, I'm just surrounded by animals, you know, and my
Yeah.
44-year-old husband, man-child. Like,
Tell us about your farm. I want to hear about that. That was one thing I wanted to ask you about. Like, is that
Oh,
something
yeah.
you've always done on the side? Like, even while you were nursing, were you farming it
kind
up?
of like on a smaller scale, and we were working our way up to like a bigger scale. So we bought this place in 2009, and then my husband was trying to figure out, you know, like, okay, we have this land and we want to be able to do something with it. We don't know what that's going to be. And he does his research, you know, like he's going to have a plan. I'm just kind of like,
Sounds like my
wing
husband. Yeah.
you know,
Let's wing it.
he's
Me too.
at 4:30 in the morning, you know, what's your plan for the day?
Oh my God, that's my husband. I'm like, I don't know. I need
don't know.
coffee. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
I don't
So
know.
me.
Take a my teeth. That's my plan for the day. That's it. I can check those two
So-
boxes. Anyway,
Yeah.
so
So-
he's the planner, right? He's got the plan. You know, we figured out, and we kind of started slow. We got our sheep.
But he kind of prophetically was working towards the farm for you to be able to do that, to sustain yourself, because
Originally,
he thought
no.
that you were going to lose your license before you did, right?
Well, this is where your
That's
plan
love.
adapts and
Oh
changes.
my God. I'm already that's love right there. He was already planning for you.
He was.
That's so sweet.
Our original plan was for me
Stop
to finish
crying.
my DMP, and then I was going to advance my nursing career, and then he was, you know, going to stay home more and focus on the farm. That was the goal. Like, he wanted to be able to do that. But then
Yeah.
when this happened, of course, we shifted gears, right? So then this was like,
Then he
okay,
said,
this has
you're
to be something. 'Cause
you're
he-
gonna get the sheep.
Again, he's a planner, and he's
Yeah.
like, worst case scenario, you're gonna lose your license. You know, you're gonna lose your license. If you're found guilty, like, we need to plan
You
for the
won't
worst.
be able to
If it
pass a
doesn't happen,
background check. You won't get to
Right,
get a
like,
job.
I'll be a
like, how are you
felon.
going to work?
Exactly. You know, and I need to stay busy. Like, I need to be doing something.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
I can't
Yeah.
just. There were a few months there right after this happened where I did just kind of. I existed, but I don't really, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
I
And
was
he
just kind of there,
probably,
you know.
yeah,
Yeah,
he
going
probably,
through the motions.
Mm-hmm.
That's got to be. I'm thinking about it
Yeah,
now.
but
all
he's
the
like,
ramifications of
he's
that,
the
like,
planner.
that's got to be stressful on your marriage too. Like, I'm just saying, like, you're going through a freaking
I mean,
criminal
you
suit,
know,
like a.
it was
Oh
my
my God, I
husband.
can't
There
even
is
imagine.
nothing that he would not do to, like, support me, to you know,
That's
to
so
fulfill
sweet.
his manly duty to take care of me.
Yeah.
You know, to make sure
That's
that
so
I had the things I
amazing.
wanted. And he, there was nothing he could do.
Yeah, he couldn't
There was
control
he-
this
That's
at
gotta
all.
be. That's
He
hard
couldn't
for a
control
guy.
this.
When a guy
He
feel
couldn't
like
do
they
anything.
can't fix it. That's hard for a
Mm-mm.
man. I know my husband's
Yeah.
just like that. It's
Yeah.
it's a feeling of like
Um,
hopelessness. Yeah.
Hopelessness
That's hard.
and helplessness. And
Yeah.
I remember him just, when I said to my attorney, because he asked me about settling, like, did I want to, approach the DA and discuss, like settling out of court. This was a couple of months before we were going to trial. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, no, I've got
Yeah.
nothing to lose.
You had a
And
bigger goal in mind.
the way he looked whenever I said that, I was like, I have nothing to lose. And he's like, you can go, it was fear, frustration, like expressed as anger, because he just has, a really angry face anyway, like this crinkle brow
Resting bitch face
that needs a lot of Botox. Yeah. He has an
Yeah.
angry face. He's like, and it wasn't, I didn't realize what he was hearing is like, I said I have nothing to lose, but he would lose me. Because I was like,
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck. Whatever, they found me guilty and I go to prison, I'm not afraid of that. And that's not like this hardcore, statement, but I'm not afraid of that. I will get through it. I will get through it.
Yeah.
I'm not a bad
What
person.
a trooper, RaDonda.
Like,
I'd have been like,
I was like,
I don't
I'll
want
go
to
in there. I'll go in there and I will teach people how to farm. We'll go plant flowers. I'll be like, girl, you can take this, for your stomach ache. All right. And when your period cramps come along, take you some of this.
The
We'll grow
new
some
orange
sage
is the
out
new
back.
black.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, we'll just be like, kitchen witches in prison or something. I don't know.
You know what?
Yeah.
I think it's a fun question.
But legitimately, that's where he was. He was thinking, I'm going to lose you. I'm going to lose you. And there's nothing I can do.
And that's
And if you just
terrifying for
maybe
him.
settle or maybe consider this, maybe making some agreement, then maybe that agreement could include like the risk of you. It would be planned. There would be a plan that you could execute that I'm sure you would not go to prison.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I'm not doing another one of these. Let's settle this behind closed doors.
You were not ever going to consider that. Yeah.
Never.
Because
I'm like, I've talked to too many people behind closed doors.
You wanted people to kind of hear about some of the fuckery that took place behind the scenes, right?
I mean, I just felt as though if they were going to take it that far, like if you're going to go here, then
let's go here.
Then let's go here. If you're going to go here, let's go here. Because I know, what are you going to say? What are you going to do? You going to tell the world something about me that they don't already know? I made a horrible mistake. I gave a woman a medication that she never should have received. I killed someone in the worst possible way, and I have to live with the guilt of that every single day for the rest of my life. Oh, and I also told the truth to everyone about it. Oh, and that affected really important institutions' money in the long run.
And reputation.
And it wasn't until that was an issue that you decided to do something about it.
Exactly.
The Board of Nursing was all too happy to sweep it under the rug and say nothing until it was going to affect someone's money. So yeah, what are you going to say about me? Nothing. I've told the truth. Do what you're going to do.
You were totally transparent the whole time.
Yeah, like,
as soon as you found out.
Do whatever it is that you need to do over there to prove that you think this is the right thing to do. I don't think it's the right thing to do, but I can't do shit about it. You've made this call now. Like, you've put us in this position, and I'm going to hold you to it. You make an ass out of yourself. You do what you have to do. They didn't do her family justice. They did not do her justice. They did not do healthcare justice. They did not do criminal defense justice. Drug her family through that for another several years, unnecessarily preventing their ability to grieve.
Can I tell you something,
and go
though?
on from this
positively, which if there is anything positively to come from this, for years I felt like nursing is so divided. Like it's just people are catty, nurses are catty, ratios suck, everybody's on edge.
Yeah.
The day of your sentencing was the first day I ever felt like nurses came together that moved me to tears. It was like nothing
you and I
I've
were
ever
both there
experienced
in Nashville
before
for her sentencing.
Listen, I had just come from the nurses' march which didn't do
Nothing.
mean nothing.
Accomplished nothing.
We tried, but it, it wasn't moving. It wasn't anything. And then I come and I'm holding hands with strangers. I'm locking arms with strangers. I have
It was a powerful,
a grown man
powerful
next
day.
to me, bawling his eyes out. All of us are on edge because we don't understand the words that are coming out of this judge's mouth. Like it was like,
And it was a sea
listening
of
to
purple.
jargon. We're all on the seat of our pants. And it was like, for one day, if anything you can take from that is that I felt like nurses were there and had each other's back. I'm going to get emotional talking about it. I felt like
it was very
once,
palpable.
even if it was one day, I felt like that's what nursing is. Like, that's at the root of everything. That is what nurses
because we
are.
could agree on that. No nurse should be criminally charged for making an honest error. And you know what? There's so much to talk about. I think we're going to have to probably do a part 2 to this.